Hello everybody, we have 30 schools watching today, 6 years, year groups plus foundation in every one of those 30 schools, over 6,000 children all across Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire, and it is great to see you all here this morning, and thank you for taking your time out, your busy schedule and wanting to get back in the classrooms. I know you're wanting to get back to your work, but what I wanted to do is let you know first who am I if you've not seen me, because I know with lockdown and everything we've not been able to get into the schools. Well, my name's Mr. Wheatley and I'm the CEO of the Flying High Trust. The reason for talking to you all today is to explain a little bit about what the Flying High Trust is, because I know you love your school, the school in which you go to every day. I know you love it and love being a part of that. However, what your school chose to do was be a part of a bigger family. And that family is the Flying High Trust, which I try and run with a lot of other people, including everybody in your school, because we want to make it that everybody has got a role to play in making us, what I'd like to say, the best trust in the universe, just as I know your heads are pushing you to be the best schools in the universe. I want to explain this morning what it is. What is the trust? So I know some of you know, but some of you aren't, and some of you are pretty new. So I want to explain what we're all about, what it is, and what it is collectively we're trying to achieve. Now, first thing I want to show you is all the different schools that are involved in our family, our Flying High family, and these are the schools in which are in that family. Okay, see if you can spot your school. I know some schools there, you've got new emblems. Either that's because you've had a competition. I know some schools had a competition to design a new logo. It's about time that the new logo was changed. And some have joined together, which I'll come to in just a minute. But see if you can spot yours. And it'd be great when I come to it, see if you can give it a cheer. Give your school and the emblem a cheer if you're in the hall or in your classrooms at the moment. So we have some of the first schools that joined us. Canterbury Lane School in Cotgrave. We have Ladybrook in Mansfield, Hillside. Peafield Lane, we have the newly formed Ernhale Hub. So Ernhale, which was Ernhale Junior School and Ernhale Infant School, and now Ernhale Flying High Schools. You'll see that's a brand new emblem, that one. Let's have a cheer for Horsendale. The Bridgeford schools, which are Edwalton School and Greythorne. Haddon, we have Beeston Fields. We have Bilstorp. We have Killysick, Mapplewells. Greenwood is there, you can spot that one. Leamington, one of our only infant schools now, Alderman Pounder, we have there too, if you can spot it. Stansted from Nottingham City, Porchester and Porchester School is there, see if you can spot that. Then there's the Pinxton schools. Let me just explain the Pinxton schools, because you'll see Pinxton School there, which is John King Infant School and Longwood Infant School collectively, and also there's a separate one there for Kirkstead, but I know Pinxton work really closely together. You've got some of our new schools down the bottom there too. Hucknall Flying High, one of our brand new schools, only been with us a couple of years, been brand new building and everything. We've got Brooklands there, which I know Brooklands is a new emblem which a lot of the children designed. We've got Green Infant Schools too, over in Normanton and Forest Glade. We also have Rivendell, which is our new school, not even open yet, if you can spot that one. And we have the newly formed Walton Peak Flying High School, which was Whitecoat only last year. So brand new emblem there, brand new launch. It's wonderful to see that too. As well as Poolsbrook, Hollingwood and Hawthorne, who we are still waiting to officially join our family, but really are working with us as if you are part of the family, and you are. So it'd be great if you have spotted your school, but it shows you how big we are as that family and what all different experiences and where we live, what we can bring successfully to our group. And what I'd like to do is be able to celebrate not just your school, because I know you're proud of that, but celebrate the whole Flying High family. You can see there's quite a lot of us. And very, very soon we'll be taking advantage of that by having some competition. I know we've had a bits of competition before lockdown, but we're getting back into it where we can have some sporting competition and other competitions and debating and whatever we've got planned. We've got a lot of things planned where we can come together either north of the county or the counties, south of the counties, or making sure that you can come out of your school and meet other friends from other schools within the Flying High family. The first value I want to talk about is the value of responsibility. And when I'm around school, what I'd love to see is the children displaying that value, responsible for themselves, before their actions, their behaviours, their learning, the class and their school. And what do I mean by responsibility? Obviously, it's being responsible yourself and behaving in the right kind of way, but it's also being a leader and leading others. That's a huge thing, which is not easy to do. But I know there's children now, and there's one I want to mention. There's a young lady from Sweden that's been in the news a lot recently. It's about climate change, and that's a lady called Greta Thunberg. You might have done some work on Greta. And she's only, I think she's either in her early 20s or late teens now, but when she was younger, she started a real climate change movement, which has created politicians to listen to her because she wanted the world to be still there when she's older and when her children potentially are older. So we need to do a lot of care about the community, but also about the world. And climate change is a huge thing. Now, she's shown so much responsibility there, understanding that she's got to lead other people and that she's young, so would people listen to her? Well, she didn't mind. She didn't bother about that. She just said, this is what we want to do, and I want to be a really strong leader for myself and for everybody else in the world. Let that be an inspiration to her. Let her be an inspiration to you. And if we have, I'm not saying everybody can change the world every day, but if you think about what Greta has done and the change, the significant change she's made, we all can do little pieces of that and then understand what being a responsible person is. And if everybody in your school is responsible, your school will be an amazing place. The second value that I want to talk about, which I'm going to be looking for, is the value of creativity. Creativity can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. People will think if you're creative, you're quite artistic, and that's quite right, you know, or theatrical, or even when you're in the sports field, that's creative. But I also want to think about creativity being a different way of thinking, because when you are inventing something or making something or even trying, let's just say a piece of work, it's very rare you'll get the piece of work perfect straight away. You've got to think about it in lots of different creative ways, and sometimes you'll get it wrong. So in our classrooms and in our schools, I really want to push the idea of it's a safe place to make mistakes. And let's be right, we should be making mistakes, but not all the time and not the same ones over and over again, because mistakes actually, and your teachers will say this, mistakes is learning. That's what learning is. So actually trying something and getting it a little bit wrong, so next time you'll do it a little bit differently. And there's been some really inspirational people that I know when I think of creativity as a value, and again, youngsters, or some people that invented things or did things when they were young. So there's two people I want you to think about now, and if you can do some further research and have a look. One's called Anne Mokinski, I think. Not entirely sure exactly where Anne's from, but what Anne has done, she's a bit of an inventor, and only a child, but she invented, unbelievably, a light source, so like a torch, which didn't require batteries or electricity. It actually was powered by body heat. So if you are camping or whatever you need to do when you need a torch, you can actually use it, or those countries that haven't got electricity could use a light source or get a light source by heat in itself, by body heat, which is an amazing thing. That was actually invented by a child, or certainly a young adult, which is incredible. And also, when I was looking at which creative people have we had as children, and I could not believe there's a very, very famous artist, which I'm pretty sure you will know, or you'll have heard of, called Picasso, Pablo Picasso. Now, Picasso has been dead a long, long time, but his artwork now that he's left behind is worth millions and millions and millions of pounds. Incredibly, some works of art are absolutely priceless. However, the reason for mentioning Picasso is he was 9 when he created his first oil painting, which he sold. So even though he was only 9 years old, he still felt he wanted to show off his creativity with his skills, but also creativity in his thinking, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful skill and value to have. Okay, number 3, third value, which we're looking out for when we come around the schools, to see how well you're getting on. It's the value of enjoyment. Now, enjoyment or fun. Of course, we want you to enjoy coming to school, and you know, that's part of coming to school, isn't it? To make memories and to have a great time. And that's so important, because you'll never learn something if you're not feeling very happy about everything. So just remember, there's people that will listen to you if you're not feeling great, or you're a bit worried. You've got your teachers, you've got your sports staff, you've got your heads, you've got everybody there, friends even, who are there to listen to you. Because we want you to show that value of enjoyment, because we know when you're feeling happy and you are enjoying what you are doing, you will learn. The person that came to mind, which I never knew about this, but there's been a bit of a phenomenon, which I'm pretty sure you do, because if you ask a lot of children what they want to be when they're older now, there's a certain percentage that would say YouTuber. Now, a YouTuber didn't exist when I was young. Not much did exist when I was young, to be honest with you. Going back a bit. But the person I want to let you think about in terms of enjoyment, someone that on YouTube, what he does, he tells you what he's enjoyed, he looks at toys, and he therefore, with the toys, he gives you a bit of an update about how good it is and how much he enjoyed it. And he's called Ryan Kaji. And every day he's looking at toys and he's doing critiques. And I know he's got millions and millions and millions of followers, which actually mean he's got millions and millions and millions of pounds. So yes, he'll have shown a load of other values, but when I think about it deep down, actually what he's doing is really enjoying himself and letting you know the fun he's having with particular equipment or toys that he's actually bought, to see what you think of it, which is a phenomenal thing to do when you're young and under pressure, to be online all of the time and show yourself about what you're doing. So that was something that stuck out for me, and I'm pretty sure you know about him. Okay, number 4 is a value that's quite tough but often forgotten about, and that's perseverance. It's very, very easy to give up. I say that quite a lot. So much difficulty for you, and nothing's ever easy. So I really ask you to persevere and to try again and keep on pushing through. And actually, if possible, enjoy the challenge. Enjoy the fact sometimes you won't get it right. Enjoy the fact sometimes you will fail, because again, that's part of learning, and we never gain anything in this world, really, anything brilliant, unless we do persevere with what we believe in or what we want to do, or even the skill we're trying to master. Certain people that came to mind with this one, you will have done, I don't know which year group particularly in certain schools do this, but any study on Anne Frank, the fact that during World War II she had to hide, the perseverance of being hiding all the time when people were coming around the houses. Anyone who's been to Amsterdam would have gone to the Anne Frank Museum, which is an incredible place to be fair. But that did remind me of perseverance in a child, how the fact that she did that with her family, and it must have taken so much for her to do that. And also there's someone in Pakistan called Malala. You might have heard of Malala. Malala's a girl who went to school, and in her country there was some challenge where there was a group that was trying to stop girls going to schools, and she thought that wasn't fair. And in the end, someone shot at her. And even though she had that risk and that threat, I bet she was unbelievably scared, she still wanted to fight for what she thought was right. And so she persevered regardless. I'm a girl, but I want to go to school because I really want education. And that showed incredible perseverance. I think the majority of the world would have thought, ooh, someone's shooting at me, I'm going to give up. This is a little bit too hard and too scary. But she carried on. So both the difficulties Anne Frank faced in wartime and also Malala, that came to mind for me, was someone who's significant perseverance. So if we can just every day persevere with our work and persevere to what we know is right and the challenges that we face, we're going to be better every day. Okay, 5th value, and one of, in my opinion, one of the most important values is confidence. The reason I'm saying that is because when I take myself back being a child, I didn't have much confidence. And I didn't feel I could be as good as other people, and it really held me back. And there's a difference here, because I want you to have as much confidence as you can to be whatever you want to be. However, there is a balance about being a complicated term called arrogance, which basically means a bit of a show-off, okay? So there's a difference between being confident and being a show-off. Show-off's negative, confidence is positive. And the confidence I want you to have is believe you can do it. Believe you can take on anything that's difficult and you will succeed. The person, and this is going back so many years now, because he's been dead a long, long time, but I found out that actually one of the people who've been described as a genius, a musical genius, and probably the most famous musician in the whole world ever, is a man called Mozart. And he created his first sellable piece of music when, can you believe this? When he was 5. So when he was in reception, he produced a piece of music that was sold, and that was renowned as being fantastic across the world. Now, how about that? When we talk about someone who's got to have a wee bit of confidence, really superb. So you can't ever have enough confidence. So I'd love that to be a real value that you strive for constantly. Okay, near the end now, just 2 more to go. And the one I want to talk about now is pride. What do I mean by pride? Pride is about being proud of yourself, proud of who you are, celebrating the difference of yourself compared to other people, and the ability to love yourself for who you are, for what you look like, for where you're from, for what family you have, the brothers and sisters you've got. Regardless of what you have in your life, be proud of it, be thankful for it. And the person that comes to mind with this is someone who really, really felt that his pride could be knocked, and that's a boy called Jalen Arnold. Now, Jalen, he had ADHD, he had autism, he had lots of significant difficulties in his life personally, and because of that, he was bullied. And what he did is he formed a foundation to support anyone who thought they were being bullied, any children that were thinking they were being bullied, to have the confidence to deal with that. And his real ambition and his drive was to enable children to love themselves for who they are and to celebrate the differences. I know you do that in our trust. That's why we are a trust, because we're all different and we bring something different to the organisation. But it is so important to think, whatever you are, and you may look different, feel different, speak differently than the person next to you. It's got to be celebrated, because you are, and you've got to love yourself for who you are and celebrate those differences. And the final value is something I talk about a lot in our areas, and that's aspiration. I remember growing up, and I grew up in the northeast of England, and when I was a child, I used to watch the TV or hear about people who've done some fabulous things, and often think they do that because they're in a place in the world or in the country that people expect it. And I never ever thought from where I was from that anyone would expect anything of me. So it really meant a lot to me to raise what we called aspiration. So to raise your dreams, or to enable you to fulfill your dreams and do whatever you want to do, regardless of, we said about pride, who you are, where you're from, or whatever barriers are in front of you. Just because you're from where you are doesn't mean that should be a barrier. You can do whatever you can as anybody else in the world can. And so therefore we want to make sure that no dream is unreachable in our trust. So our aspiration, basically what we're aiming for, there's no bounds. We can do whatever. And I'd love to hear what you're working on when I come into your schools about your aspiration, and then what your dreams are for the future, what job you want to do potentially when you're older, or how you do want to change the world. The person that comes to mind when I've been looking at who had a huge amount of aspiration as a child, and even into adulthood actually, was a person called Louis Braille. Louis Braille, when he was a child, actually formulated a new language. I don't know whether you know about this, but it'd be interesting for you to find out. And it was a language, or it gave the ability for anyone who was blind to be able to read, and it was called Braille. And it was little bumps that were on paper that if someone was blind or couldn't see, could follow these bumps and actually read a book or read something that was meaningful. And he did that as a child. And now Braille is used across the world and has been for years and years and years and years. Now, he must have had a huge amount of aspiration in the early days, did Louis, thinking, I want to change the world. I want to make something extraordinary, and I'm going to be at the forefront of that. I'm going to design something. I'm going to do something that's going to enable anyone who can't read to be able to read. Now, what a fantastic place that was. What a fantastic person. Now, we had to start with an idea, but he also therefore had to have aspiration. I think this will go across the world, and it did. Now, I will challenge you all that I've just shown you 7 values there. You can't do them all the time, but a lot of them you can, and some of them you will display a lot, you know? So the challenge is, tell me what you're up to when I come into your school, but I would love to see which one of you are going to change the world, which one of you are gonna do something extraordinary in your life and show by using those values just how wonderful you can be. Best of luck, everybody, on that, but keep me informed and how you're getting on. Okay, so just to finish off, I know I've talked about what our trust is, I've talked about the part you can play, I've talked about your schools and the values in which we judge who's been successful. I also want to introduce 1 or 2 people that may be popping into your school at some time, so you know who they are. I've said who I am, Mr. Wheatley. You'll also have Mr. Goodman. Now, Mr. Goodman is the Deputy CEO, and he might be popping into your school really to see how the teachers are getting on and to support the teachers be as good as they possibly can be. And anybody who needs a new teacher or anybody who needs a new opportunity, an experience, Mr. Goodman's your man. He's great. So he will be around the schools. And so please say hello to Mr. Goodman if you do see him, because he's in the schools all the time. We also have Miss Varley. Miss Varley is there in a lot of our schools, making sure that our schools are performing really, really well and supporting the teachers and the head teachers to enable you to get the best possible deal and to make every day count, really. So she is there on your behalf to help us be the best schools in the universe. That's our driving force, and Miss Varley is in there trying to enable every lesson to be really, really good and enjoyable for you and meaningful. We also have Miss Maxie. Miss Maxie is there. Sometimes you'll see her in the offices of the school, because what she's trying to do is make sure that we have enough money to do everything that we need to do, all the wonderful things that we have in school. And so that's kind of her job, to make sure the officers are working really, really well too. So if you do see Miss Maxie, give her a wave and say hello to her as well. We've also got a couple of people who help Miss Varley, ensuring that the schools are performing really, really well all the time, and that's Mr. Wilkes. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know Mr. Wilkes or have seen Mr. Wilkes in the schools. We've also got Mr. Warsop, and we've got Mr. Varnum. So they work as a bit of a group in different schools, as well as other head teachers, because our head teachers often help other head teachers how to keep on improving the schools all the time. But those 3 work with Miss Varley, and you will see them in the schools making sure the lessons are as good as they possibly can be. We've also got Mr. Layfield. Mr. Layfield is there ensuring that the environments, how our schools look, and our site managers are working really, really well, and he's there to support them and to make sure that the environments of the school are looking really, really great. We've got Mr. Livesey, who checks all with his team, makes sure ICT is working really well, which, you know, we all need help with, but Mr. Livesey is there with his team to support us to make sure that Flying High schools are doing very well with IT. And we've got Mrs. Moody, recently married, just with Miss Mayfield. Now, Miss Moody will be in the schools trying to support you to talk to each other. So what she does is try and organise lots of events so the children can meet other people and be involved in a lot of trust activity, as well as enabling your parents to know what the trust is all about and organising, again, things for the teachers and the head teachers and the support staff to bring the trust together. So please say hello to Miss Moody if you see her, but that's the team. Primarily you will see, we've got still loads of other people, but primarily you will see those individuals in your schools. Okay, so now we've come to the end of the assembly. I want to say thank you very much for spending your time. Hopefully you now know some of the people that will be coming into school, and you know what this trust is all about and why we are doing what we're doing and trying to create for you to make every day count. So when I come into your schools, remember the challenges I've given you around those values. So really try and push those values and show those values all the time, learning those values. And then tell me when I'm in your school, because I want to see who the next Greta Thunberg's going to be, the next Picasso, the next Ryan Kaji, you know, the next Mozart even, or even Louis Braille. So let's change the world together, and we will support you to do that. So I know it's only Monday, but let's change the world by Tuesday. So really put 100% effort in this. It's great to have this opportunity to talk to you. I'm going to be talking to you another 2 times as the year goes on. And please, when you see me in your schools, come say hello. See you soon.